he's winning the clamp and running away with it.
Absolutely. And standing in the middle of the field is Ethan Griffin. Ethan Griffin with the fancy feet, finding the feed in the middle, and a shot gets off early by Jared Bethea. Boy, I tell you, that was a one-touch-and-go shot from Bethea.
Yeah, he just really didn't have leverage on it, having to go across his hips, and just didn't get enough mustard on it. It was on line for sure.
And look at that great rear check by Matthew Lockerman, able to bring that ball off of the head with a rear check to the hands.
Yeah, he just stripped the bottom hand and lifted the wallet.
Boy, I tell you, you keep talking, they keep scoring. Mike Messino does it again. 9:03 here in the first. I think you're that good luck charm. All you got to do is start talking.
Yeah, tell it to my wife.
JD, I tell you, that's why they won't let us get together. You do that, and I just start laughing, and the whole thing goes off the rails.
We get off track.
Yeah, we do. Easily. Back down at the X for TCU is number 44, JT Macedo, going up against Trip Wood.
Test. Can you guys hear me?
So far, Wood hasn't won one of these.
He got a clamp and lost it on the rake, and that's about the extent of it.
And another victory for JT Macedo, and the beat goes on. Will he call his own number? Nope, he passes out, and that's Lundy with a little bit of a pump fake and score, and just like that, 5-0 for the Horned Frogs with 8:54 in the first quarter.
Yeah, you're in there with your toes on the crease, and you just pop it, and you're just trying to get the bass to jump, and he took the fake and just opened himself up, and unfortunately that's what you're back there when you're man to man up with nothing between you.
Yeah, right now the goalie has been taking the bad end of these matchups, finding himself at point-blank range with a Horned Frog attackman. And TCU back on offense again. Like I said, this has been very one-sided to start in this first quarter, not spending a whole ton of time on defense at all as the Horned Frogs.
No, once they convert to defense, if that ever does happen, you might see some rust, but I don't think so. And at some point, you gotta wonder if Coach Purcell's gonna start looking at developing some skill. There was a good stop.
Yeah, you look at that. Jared Bethea, boy, was really in a point-blank range situation and not able to cash in on the pass. Perfect feed for Bethea. Sooners are on the clear, and as we talked about them not having an opportunity on offense, and here we are, and as soon as I say that, they have a turnover. It's like we may have a slashing penalty. They allow it to play on, obviously.
Yeah, TCU's just going to try and pop the rock here and see what you obviously you're going to go man down. You want to for sure try to get a goal, and it didn't work out for them, but they were rushing it.
Man down situation, an advantage for TCU for 1 minute. See how this works out as number 32, Will Gambrell, is bringing the ball inbounds for the Horned Frogs. Lundy working from behind the cage. No one cutting so far. Look for Cade Rieskamp standing there at the crease where he's moved back out.
Yeah, and you got, a very mobile goalie in Primavera. He's working well outside the cage with some confidence. So,
and that's a good hustle by Primavera, rushing to that end line, actually beating Lundy, and that's going to be possession to the Sooners.
Yeah, that's a hustle possession right there. No
easy clear. Well, that's a miscommunication, obviously. sloppy play by the Sooners, and that's going to be a turnover as soon as they get the ball. Obviously, there's an errant pass.
Well, and it was turnover on clock, so basically they stood up at the midfield line not knowing he could cross.
Reed O'Connell working behind the cage for TCU. Getting it all the way up top to Trey Mala, who loses it. And that's going to be a turnover. Number 12, Nick Brawley, on the clear for the Sooners. And just like that, Sooners back in business on offense. See if they could take advantage. And now we're all knotted up. As far as the numbers, the penalty has been served with 6:19 here in the first. Clay Cutler being defended by Trey Mala. And that's going to be a turnover by the Sooners. Number 50, Christian Vieira, with the ground ball pickup.
And Zirapillo's trying to not get stalled out. And back into Schubert. Now Schubert's got to reset.
Yeah, Kevin Hayes with the long pole gets the turnover, and he himself is on the move. Got a flag, but that's a great save by Carter Schubert. Deterring the long pole goal attempt.
Yeah, Schubert is well out of the crease, trying to get the clear in, and that's playing with both ends of the knife there.
Absolutely it is, and it's 5:32 in the first. The Sooners will have possession. Working behind the X is number 2, London Laszlo, excuse me. See if we can get any offensive execution by the Sooners. It's going to be a shot attempt that goes over the top of the goal.
They called that a pass. Yeah.
I thought it was a variation of a pass or a shot. Something was going on there. Either way, there's a turnover, and the Horned Frogs take over on offense as Michael Bacino takes over and gets the clear. I say Pacino.
And see, most of this OU roster's filled with Texas kids from Allen, Katy, Flower Mound, a lot of area kids, and TCU. Their roster, I mean, Coach Purcell isn't just taking these guys to Cali on a little 3-game junket. He looks like he's doing some recruiting while he's out there.
Oh, absolutely, and there's some great California players on that TCU squad. So that's what that is. That is a recruiting trip as well. Oh, man, with the bouncer trying to come across is Mike Bacino. And that goes over the top of the cage.
Yeah, the bounce shots kind of become back in vogue.
If that Colin Minute goes down, possession stays with TCU. Reed O'Connell on the GLE on the near side. Passing across. Dangerous pass, but taken by Colin Minute. Possession will stay with TCU. As Pacino brings it in from the end line. Back to O'Connell. O'Connell pump fakes a shot, looking to pass. Nope, he shoots. And that's another save on the inside.
Yeah, Primavera, I mean, body parts, gloves, stick, he'll get it in front of there.
Yeah, Primavera's given up some early goals, but so far able to get a few saves for the Sooners. So there's a bit of a scrum here at midfield, taken by number 14, Clay Cutler. Cutler with the short stick, close. Looks like he's falling into the crease. And then that's another save by Carter Schubert, who's able to get the outlet pass, and TCU back on offense.
Yeah, Cutler was creasing, or heading to the crease, and just had two guys draped on him. Got his feet a little out in front of him, and ended up down on his belly. But he certainly had a clean run at it.
Sure did. Looked like he was diving into that crease. Not a crease violation, but a good save by Schubert. And 2 minutes, 25 seconds here in the first. Will Gambrell with the shot that goes inside of the pipes, and that's another score for TCU, making it look easy.
Yeah, he got leverage on his man and just unloaded it. It brushed the pipe on the way in and just ended at the back of the net.
Doesn't get any prettier than that. And here we are, TCU up by a bunch here. 6-0 in the first quarter. And a lot of this difference has been made just here in the face-off. So far, JT Macedo is dominating.
Yeah, and there's that 50-50 ball we were talking about earlier.
Absolutely. Justin Causey comes out with it. Gets it to O'Connell. O'Connell now working from behind the X, directing the offense. Billy Niles was on the move for TCU, resetting things up at the front of the field is Justin Causey, middle of the field. That's a pass that's almost intercepted. Possession does stay with TCU.
Yeah, and that brushed off Jamel's stick. You know, he wanted to obviously pin it on the other guy, but
O'Connell tries to get back top side. Good sliding on the defense for the Sooners. And right there to get a shot off is Justin Causey.
Yeah, and that's hard to do. He grabbed that ground ball forehand and had to switch hands and go backhand on the shot down low, and the OU goalie just was on it.
Another hustle play to the end line. Possession stays with TCU. And that's going to be a shot clock violation, recognizing that they were down on their shot clock and had to try and get a shot attempt off, but not in time as possession goes to the Sooners.
I still think Primavera needs to get a steal.
Looks like we're having some confusion on the shot clock. Nonetheless, possession does stay with the Sooners. And you were saying that Primavera needs to get a – what was that again?
Yeah, you should have a steal on that. I mean, although it was a shot clock, the pass across the face of the goal, and he grabbed it. You know, I think effort. Award the effort.
Absolutely, I do agree with that. Sooners on the move. No quality shots so far from the Sooners. I mean, they have taken some shots, but from a far distance, but nothing up close so far. As that shot is at the feet of Carter Schubert and ricochets back across midfield.
And we were running out of time, and Cutler got caught playing musical chairs.
Absolutely, yeah, he
on
did.
The other side, on the other side of the midfield.
And that was the end of the first quarter as TCU leads by 6 over Oklahoma. And as they take a break to begin the second quarter, we'll take one with them, and we'll be right back as action resumes here on Game On Sports.
away from the camera. Already, if I get too telly, the wind's going to make it bounce a lot.
Back in action here at Texas Christian University, where TCU leads by 6 points. Oklahoma so far, JD, boy, they have gotten that work here in Fort Worth.
I mean, they have struggled, and I think it's going to be a hill to climb for them because they are playing with they ain't got enough guys.
Yeah,
it just comes down to it. It's a hot day, and they're going to give it Hades, but it's going to be tough for them.
Nice and toasty here in Fort Worth. I believe the temperature today right at about 80 degrees, but feels a little bit hotter than that, JD, as JT Macedo wins another face-off.
And they're resettling the offense. And he has the luxury. Coach Purcell has the luxury just to, at whatever point, just start unloading the bench because he's got some solid kids over there.
Yeah, from a leadership standpoint, definitely does. And there have been certain points in the season. I'm telling you, Jim, this TCU squad, I've said all along. I mean, these guys are tough. They can score at will. We've seen opportunities for them to obviously just dominate in the LSA, but here they are. They find themselves in the first playoff game here in Fort Worth.
Yeah, and, I mean, they're coming off a win against LSU, and we saw LSU down at A&M with a game on broadcast, and those cats from the Bayou are salty, man. They don't give up any ground.
We've had an opportunity to see LSU before, and I definitely agree with you, and that's a victory that they pulled out. Trying to get the shot clock together. Calling for 11 seconds on the shot clock. We're going to say operator error right there. Trying to get things together, the poor kid on the shot clock has the whole world yelling 20 seconds at him. Looking for cutters on this side is Matthew Lockman. The 6'3" freshman. Boy, and he gets a shot that hurt.
That was all human body right there.
Yeah.
There was no pad on that.
Ouch. That is definitely going to leave a mark. Clay Cutler was trying to get the clear, not an easy clear given by the Horned Frogs. And look at that. Here they are in an isolation situation. And Jared Bethea punches the clock and gets a score with 13:25 here in the second. TCU 7, OU 0.
And he just popped it at Primavera's feet, and there's nothing you can do when you're a goalie on that deal.
Yeah, and Primavera has found himself several times one-on-one with the Horned Frog, and he hadn't won any of those so far. So
no, at the very best, you're going to win, a very small percentage of them. You just got to stop. You got to stop that offensive penetration with no cover.
Back down at the X for both teams. That's Cole Manning. That's down for the Sooners, trying to switch it up at the X to see if they can have any luck, but none yet versus JT Macedo. Doesn't matter what they throw at him, he's still getting the victory at the faceoff.
Yeah, and you just never know. I mean, it's kind of like playing rock, scissors, papers, and you're out there playing Rochambeau with a stick, and you don't know what that guy's going to throw at you, and you try and mix up chemistry, and some days it's the guy's day.
Yeah, not today, obviously. So Horned Frogs bringing it in from the end line. That's Hayden Lundy trying to get back topside, cut off by the slider. It's number 2, Connor Jamel. Talk about knocking the rust off. OU has been on defense for the majority of this game, so they're getting those reps on defense. That is for sure.
Yeah, and what TCU is not really having to do is they're not really having to play very physical down in the offensive zone. I mean, it's not that OU's playing soft; they're just playing off them and trying to avoid contact and physical play. Just again, back to the short bench.
And that's a turnover by the Sooners, taken by Reed O'Connell, number 13, and another shot that goes to the back of the legs of one of the Sooners. Long pole on the run, and that's a pass that may go out of bounds. Well, nope, doesn't. And Evan Randolph able to maintain the possession for the Sooners. TCU gets an opportunity to be on defense with 11:29 in the second. So far, very cleanly played game. I think only had 2 penalties so far in this entire contest.
Yeah, I mean, there is, I think, one additional procedure call, and really nothing more than a reset. But Oklahoma's going to stay on the perimeter and force TCU to come out and get them, and they're happy to stand out here on the clock.
Zach Serpola defending from behind the X with the long pole. Trying to get back topside with the shot was number 14, Clay Cutler. Rare shot attempt on goal by the Sooners.
And Schubert didn't move. I mean, he was set up on it. He knew the lane it was coming in.
Absolutely. Great defense there by TCU and Schubert. And that's a turnover, sloppy passing for TCU, calls that turnover. And here OU is again with an opportunity on offense. Clay Cutler working in the middle of the field, being defended by number 22, Michael Bacino.
Cutler's a big kid. He doesn't miss leg day, does he?
He does not. He could squat the house, it looks like, man, with those thighs.
He got leverage on and rolled back.
Looking for another shot. He does, right there at the crease. And that is a great job by number 8, Joshua Harrison. Joshua Harrison, obviously from a good family. Oh, and the long pole trying to get the party started with Zach Serpola.
Yeah, and that's one of the benefits of being up 7 goals. You can get aggressive on those clears. You don't have to work it, and next thing you know, you're rolling downfield.
Absolutely, and with all that leverage from that long pole, boy, that's why I say get the party started when you got that long pole running from that distance.
Oh, and that shot, Hegma, I mean, it comes off 20 miles an hour faster. Yeah. And you can't read it.
Not at all. I wouldn't. Hey, you know what? I wouldn't want to try and read that from that, especially from that distance, coming off that head that fast. That all you got to do is just say your Hail Marys.
No, that's just a different level. If you're going to stand in there and take a shot with a vulcanized rubber object at your naughty bits, that's just something different.
9:22 here in the second quarter, and TCU is just giving OU all they can handle right now, 7-0, and this is by far for both of these. Well, obviously the weather, the heat being a factor for both teams, but you can tell right now with the numbers that OU has, attrition is going to be something to look at, as you have players right now just sitting down.
Yeah, you're over there. You're trying to catch your gas, and you're trying to get water in, and these kids that they're athletes, but they're college kids first, and a lot of them don't subscribe to proper nutrition and hydration, and they're worried about books and classes and a bunch of other stuff.
I like how you threw books and classes in there. But yeah, that's I'd like to think the same thing. Trust me, as a former college athlete, I know for sure, man, this is one of those things where you got to get prepared, get your body right, but nothing is preparing you to play lacrosse on a Friday in this kind of heat. And this is a matchup that was actually supposed to be played on Sunday. So the quick turnaround for both of these teams, obviously, maybe this is going to be a factor in travel and just getting here and just putting on your pads and playing, especially if you're OU.
Yeah, you got the extra 3-4 hours to get down here from Norman, and it contributes.
And OU back on offense, taking their time, getting set up. You would think that they would be moving a lot quicker to get a goal off, and here we go. Finally, OU, it's pay dirt and gets a score with 9:05 in the second.
Yeah, and Breckenridge just set out on the edge, and that's Oklahoma's luxury at this point. We're down 7 goals. Now they're down 6, and they can stand on the perimeter and force you to play. And really, all you're going to do is give up a possession. You're already down 7 goals or 6 goals. Honestly, what do you care?
Yeah.
You're just trying to advance the score, and you're willing to trade a possession to do it. And that worked out for him. He got leverage and went loose.
And there is a win at the X for OU, and looking like they are in business. And how about that for 2 quick scores by Trip Wood, getting the party started. Here we are. OU starting to steal a little bit of momentum here in the second quarter.
Yeah, and Wood just picked up a 50-50 ball and rolled up. The defense was a little flat, and they're making hay with Schubert, and he's having to catch up. And the defense transition part of the defense needs to really step up, and you'll see that correct.
Yeah, so far here we are with JT Macedo able to get the victory at the faceoff, running in the alley, getting the pass back up top to number 6, Kate Reiskamp. Reiskamp working in the middle of the field, losing his footing and the ball. And that's Kevin Hayes able to create that turnover. Not going to let anything be easy on the clear. Like the ball was lost there for a quick second.
That was a T-shirt catch.
Is that what it was? He couldn't find it at all, did Jamel. And finally, the offense getting going. And, JD, as you know, the game is never over in lacrosse. Only down by 5 now. It's a new ball game for OU.
No, a little momentum swing, some lucky breaks, and you got a new ball game. That's the beauty of this game. On any level they're playing, you never see a team that's just completely out of it.
Jack Waller defending on the far side. See TCU collapsing that defense in a little bit towards the middle of the field.
See, they're standing on the perimeter, Heckman. They're coaxing contact. As soon as they have contact, they get leverage. They roll, they dodge, whatever to get loose, and they've already beat one man.
Absolutely, and you see them looking for their cutters, and that's a shot clock violation. But what the Sooners were doing was collapsing those cutters around the crease and not able to find it once they were behind X, and the shot clock violation, and TCU takes over and gets the clear as they're back on offense.
Yeah, and if you're on offense, for example, if you're Oklahoma and you're on offense, you're in control, and really you're resting your guys. You're taking advantage of the clock, and when you're in a situation where you're down, it's a very wise move. It's kind of ugly lacrosse, but lacrosse nevertheless.
Gambrell gets the pass out to number 27, Jared Bethea, and Bethea not able to control the pass. Looked like there was going to be a turnover there for a quick second, but TCU has the possession. Trey Mala on the run in the alley, and that's a shot that ricochets off the pipes as the Sooners are back in business, as Mala was doing everything he could on the rear check, not able to dislodge the ball from Nick Brawley. 5:48 here in the second. TCU 7, OU 2.
And OU's just running them in. OU's just running them in, resting them, and they as soon as they have possession change, they unzip a body bag and pull somebody else out.
And you talk about a body bag, that was Evan Randolph putting somebody in one, because he definitely was in that crease and was able to get a score. And here we are, 7-3 in the second quarter. All of the momentum has shifted to the Sooners.
Yeah, he got loose and just kind of an overhand chop shot, unloaded it, and it bounced in. And Schubert he had his eyes set high, and it was low outside, and that's part of momentum when you're in there on the crease.
Clay Cutler is down at the X for the Sooners, but Macedo able to come out with it, and he shoots a shot that goes left of the pipes.
Hustle possession by OU there.
Absolutely. Possession goes to Oklahoma, 5:28 on the clock. Talk about momentum shift. A score right here would be huge for the Sooners. As we have playoff lacrosse here in Fort Worth. This is Game On Sports. Heckma Harrison with Jim Dixon. And in that first quarter, TCU completely dominating, and OU stealing a little bit of their thunder back here in the second with 3 quick scores.
Yeah, and TCU needs a sustained possession here to kind of shift things a little bit, and you'd obviously want to cap that off with a goal.
Under 5 minutes to play. Ethan Griffin standing on the near side, being defended by number 20, Vincent Breckenridge. And now you see TCU taking their time, using a little bit of that shot clock as well. Lockman gets the pass out to O'Connell, and O'Connell loses it off of the head of his stick. And here's OU on the run. Talk about the rust of the TCU defense, not having to play a lot of defense there in the first, and now they find themselves back-to-back possessions with OU threatening.
Well, and it's kind of a mindset you get in a mental pattern of okay, here we go. and now all of a sudden you got to play and you got to shift gears. It's kind of like you never want to pull your starters out too early, because you got to wake them up.
And all I can when I relate is obviously is in sports, everything to football, and the situation where, look, you've seen a team that you've been pounding on, and they've done some things right, and they've stolen some momentum. How do you steal that momentum back? And that's obviously going with your plays that that work. When does Coach Purcell get back to that? Because right now you got to steal some of this momentum back from OU.
Oh yeah, and you don't want to completely play the game where you stand on the perimeter and force them out, but that certainly may be a tactic that they employ, because you got to take advantage of OU's short bench and forcing contact and forcing them to play on a little bit bigger offensive zone is definitely going to help you.
And so the pace obviously is to your advantage if you're playing more up tempo versus being patient if you're TCU.
Exactly.
We have players back on the field with 4:04 in the second. A little bit of LSA playoffs here in Fort Worth.
And I have been thoroughly impressed this season. We've seen a lot of D1 action, and even some D2 that just outstanding lacrosse.
No, I absolutely agree with that. TCU, and again, I've seen TCU, I've seen Texas, I've seen so many different teams so far this year. You talk about seeing Texas A&M and LSU. Like you said, some phenomenal lacrosse being played here in the South. Almost a turnover. How about that? And there it is again. 3:41. OU pulls to within 3 scores. All of their points being scored here in the second. And obviously they must have saw something, JD, that's gotten them going from this right side. That's where pretty much the lion's share of their points have been, from this right side over here. Yeah,
I think a lot of it's just where the leverage it pushes you, and it gives you, you get that opportunity. But Cutler had 2 guys draped on him, and like I said, he's a strong kid, and he just filthy got rid of it.
TCU takes over on offense. Cade Ricecamp working from behind X for the Horned Frogs. And we get a turnover
on a procedure, and they're going to, OU jumped on it.
Procedure penalty on TCU. Oklahoma back in business on offense, having an opportunity to cut into this lead, down by 3. 3 minutes here in the second. Clay Cutler with that strong base, you're not going to get him off balance with a little push like that, though.
No, but you saw the TCU pole. He basically played on his hips. And they're not getting out off balance. They're not crossing over. They're staying on these guys' hips, and that's obviously something they talked about in the timeout, was go back to fundamentals and play physical.
And they've switched it up, glove on glove defense, and Kyler Waldron doing a really good job with that long pole, cutting off the attackman from getting topside. And a bit of a scrum there on the far side, but TCU able to take the possession. Lockman getting back. Dancing over here on the GLE on the near side.
I don't know. I'd lock horns with that kid. That's a big kid.
Yes, he is. And he can move. He ain't just big. He's got some puppies, too.
Yeah.
Look at that Trey Mahler with the shot that goes over the top of the cage. Possession will stay with TCU. Hayden Lundy bringing the ball back in bounds. Lundy with the scoop that goes across the cage. And it's going to go out of bounds on the hustle play, but possession is going to go to OU. 1:26 left here in the first half.
They got to fight a clear up first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they get it. And Matthew Lockman on the run, and he passes out. Looked like he had an opportunity, but he passes out of it. Look at that rear check. Will Gambrell hustling, trying to get to the ball. But possession will go to OU, and we're at 50, under a minute. TCU still has possession.
But Oklahoma, they have shifted on defense. They're not playing on their heels anymore. They're playing tight defense, and Primavera's out of the crease, and they're just going for it. Trey
Mahler in the pass behind the cage to Lundy. Lundy turning back inside, and that's a shot that goes behind the cage. 25 seconds, and Primavera just launches a Hail Mary.
Yeah, I think he'd have been better served to at least try and get a more aggressive clear that would have landed in a stick.
And with time running down under 10 seconds, Cade Risecamp looking to get a shot off before time expires. Will Gambrell with his shot goes over the top of the cage, and that's going to be the end of the first half as TCU leads by 3 scores in a contest where they pretty much dominated the first quarter, and now they find themselves in a dogfight with the Sooners.
Yeah, the tide shifted in the second quarter, and OU obviously has employed some tactics that has benefited them, and they are set up to at least approach being down 3 goals.
From a strategy standpoint, if you are OU, you've battled back, and now your guys know that they can play with them. They probably had those doubts in the first, but from a strategy standpoint, how do you attack the second half and get this victory?
Well, I think you go back to the tactics that worked in the first. You spread the offensive zone, but you got to get the offensive. You got to get in the offensive zone, and so they got to play on defense, which is what they're doing. They're off their heels. They're on their toes. Their goalie's out pressing. You're down 3 goals. I mean, you were not even in this in the first quarter, so you're kind of playing with house money at this point. So, look at your short bench and see what you can do.
Hey, nothing beats playing with house money, but we got ourselves some playoff lacrosse here in Fort Worth. We'll be right back for the beginning of play to begin the third quarter. This is Game On Sports.
All right, you guys are clear.
Gotta take my headset off first. Or should I keep it on for the half? You want me to just keep it on just like this? in the alley on the far side. Well, and that's a shot over the top of the cage. Possession stays with TCU.
Yeah, he got loose from his man and went shot down from his hip low to high, and it wasn't going to go in.
Hayden Lundy with the pass, and that's another shot attempt, but this time a save by Primavera.
Yeah, he read that off the stick and was positioned correctly, and that's all you can hope for.
Primavera trying to get out on the run himself, being harassed. And they have possession turnover. As Reed O'Connell has the pass, and boy, I thought that was a slash, but not called. Trip Wood on the clear for the Sooners.
I think OU might have switched some uniforms up at half or something. I didn't see these kids in the first quarter.
I think they got a new group of guys. I don't think so. That number 14, I remember those Cavs. He's the only one that stayed if they did switch positions or switch players. Ethan Griffin knocked out of bounds, but comes back across and able to get the possession for TCU's up by 4 scores, 9:35 in the third. And Hayden Lundy standing right at the porch and gets the score.
He was just rolling across, just backhanded it, and it doesn't get any better than that.
A little under and behind shot, huh?
Yeah, they set it up top, and he got separation, unloaded it, and just rode his man across the goal face, and dropped that backhand in.
Man, like you said, doesn't get any easier than that. I mean, you pretty much got all of your momentum going back the other way. The goalie's following you with his eyes, and you get a shot going back across your body the opposite way, not expecting it. But here they are, again, TCU back up by 5 with 9:28 in the third, and JT Macedo about to call his own number with a bouncer at the feet of Primavera.
Yeah, and TCU's that is obviously something they worked on it or looked at halftime was trying to just get some separation goal by goal, and they're going at it pretty much the way they probably talked about.
Well, they are making it look easy, being patient also on offense. You know, we had talked about a few different things that they may be thinking about, especially with OU being a little shorthanded, but not increasing the tempo, taking their time on offense, setting up their shots. Hayden Lundy trying to get back topside and get the slider help to cut him off. O'Connell to Risecamp in the middle of the field. And that's a shot attempt by Risecamp. A bit of a bouncer that goes underneath.
Well, and he cleared on Gamble's screen and was just wide open. Nobody picked him up on the edge, and they're chasing him, and he just had a wide open shot.
And like you said, any of those bouncers underneath the goalie, really hard for him to maintain that or get a save.
Well, you play down or you play up, but if you're going to use all the inches in that goal, that kid's got to know what you're doing.
Back down at the X for TCU is number 44, JT Macedo, and for the Sooners, number 26, Coles Manning. TCU up by 6 as Coles Manning just turned his back into JT Macedo. Same cast of characters for TCU. Ethan Griffin working in the middle of the field. Standing behind the cage is Hayden Lundy. And got a yard sell. That's a good spin out by Connor Jamel.
And Primavera with a good athletic move down there to keep that live for OU.
Trip Wood with the clear. With the feed to number 13, Evan Randolph. Randolph working on the far side. And defended by number 18, Zach Serpolo. And look at this TCU defense extending all the way out to the perimeter. It's number 15, Jack Huey. And winning the ground ball war and turnover is TCU as Traeger Kennard is on the clear. Flag on the play, obviously, against OU as they allow play to continue.
So the opportunity here is for TCU to convert this thing into a goal and then go man up.
Michael Pacino looked like he had an opportunity, but then the Sooners with the great slide protection from Kevin Hayes, number 8. Got 30 seconds on the shot clock, still plenty of time. And that's a shot attempt on goal, as now penalty will be served, the slashing penalty. So 1 minute penalty to be served. TCU a man up.
I think Manny's been serving that penalty for 30 seconds already. He was already over there.
Is that right? Things not going OU's way here in the second half of action. TCU back up by 6. The captain, Trey Mala, on the move. Gets it back out to your favorite, Matthew Lockman. And Will Gambrell doesn't get any easier than that, standing in the crease, getting back topside, and no help on that side for OU.
No, he just got in his stick and dumped it in, and had Primavera completely out of position for that shot.
He tried to pivot to get back over to that side, but not in time, as number 32, Will Gambrell, had to feed and score. Down at the X for the Sooners is number 14, Clay Cutler. And obviously for TCU, number 44, JT Macedo.
Yet OU is just not able to convert on these 50-50 balls.
And they've tried to switch it up and try and see if they can have some success. But no matter who they come with, they just have not been able to get anything going versus JT. Billy Niles setting up the offense for TCU.
And I think Coach Purcell's opting for possession and shot selection, and rather than pouring on the coals and trying to create separation that way, I think he's trying to just eat it little bit by little bit.
And he did it right there, and that's a goal from about 15 yards out from Ethan Griffin, standing in the middle of the field, and gets the score. And it's paying off as TCU now up by 8 with 4:50 in the third, and as that goes down by 8, OU calls the timeout.
Yeah, and I think it's just for nothing more than to get their guys a breather and get them over there and maybe a little refocus. But they're having a claw out of this thing, and their backs are to the wall.
No, absolutely, and we talked about that earlier. As far as the numbers on TCU has enough men on their side to play an inter-squad scrimmage if they wanted to, and you look over at OU, they only have 2 reserves, and number 14, Clay Cutler, when the timeout was called, he literally goes over to the sideline and falls on his back. So if that's not a sign of I'm tired, and if I'm looking at that from the other side, I'm going right at number 14.
Yeah, they are wore out, and with the short bench, it's killing them. It's not giving them the opportunity, and they can only have momentum in spurts, and I hope it's just not the spurt in the second quarter, and that was it.
Yeah, and I think, sometimes when you shot your shot and you gave it all you possibly could, maybe that was that part. It's like that caffeine rush that you get, when you had enough coffee. Maybe that was that in the second quarter. Well,
and you never know, but I mean, you come out here, and these college kids they come out here and they want to play, and they're just faced with a double roster and a lot to fight with, and the game plan worked one time for a period, and now they're just being unfortunately devoured by the snake.
Absolutely, and you know what? The last time that these two teams played, TCU won by this score. It was 4-12 the last time they played down in Norman. And so here we are in the third quarter. They've equaled their total in the last time that they've played. So obviously if we ended it right now, it would be deja vu all over again. But I'm thinking that TCU has some more in the tank to pour into this lead that they have with 4:50. It's both 4:50 in the third as both teams come back on to the field.
Yeah, I mean they have some in the tank and a lot of time on the clock, and they are definitely making Oklahoma work for it at this point.
Same guy, JT Macedo, won the faceoff but left without getting the ball, so it's going to go to OU. Number 28, Colin Singer, with the victory at the X. It's a ball that's going to go out of bounds, and that's an unforced error by the Sooners. Samuel Ferguson in on defense for TCU. And one thing that I've been impressed with, JD, has just been the ball movement of TCU. They've been very patient, taking the time, but also picking their shots, finding cutters at the right time, and getting easy scores here in the second. So whatever adjustments they made at halftime, it's definitely worked.
Yeah, and they have no qualms about working from in behind the cage.
And that was a pass attempt by Trey Mullen. It looked like the OU had an opportunity to get it, but just not able to get the ground ball. 3:49 here in the third.
Yeah, Heckman, if you look back to what happened in the second quarter with OU's brief run, I mean, it wasn't ball movement. It was just basically beat your man, exploit a lane, and pop it in the back of the net.
Oh, Hayden Lundy, boy, he was going for the trick shot. That was equivalent to a no-look pass in basketball, trying to get it to number 13, Reed O'Connell, who was cutting in front of the cage, not able to handle that pass, and that's going to be a turnover. No, Coach Purcell isn't going to love that, but if that had worked, boy, that would have been highlight reel worthy.
That'd have been church.
That would have been church. All right, pass the collection plate then. And back on the guy that looked like he is completely out of breath for the Sooners, number 14, Clay Cutler. Hadn't had but a little bit of a breather this entire game. Will Gambrell is up top but not pressuring. Coles Manning on the move, working in the alley, looking for the pass, is coming back across. Hopefully they can get to it, and not. That's going to be a turnover.
Franchek thought for sure he could get to it and just keep it at his feet. I think we got a OU man down.
Yeah, and the kind of down he is, I tell you what, that's got to hurt. He's holding at his grabbing at his midsection, so obviously took a low blow for Coles Manning.
You always tell him it's a hand injury.
Is that what it is?
It's a hand injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go with that one, JD. It's a hand injury.
There you go.
Samuel Ferguson with the pass. And that's an easy clear for Matthew Lockman. Lockman trying to get the pass off to Hayden Lundy. 2:11 here in the third.
Yeah, I think the thing with the injury is, it's just OU can ill afford to have one at this point.
Oh, and Mike Pacino comes across the cage and another bouncer, and he sweeps the grass. TCU is just clicking on all cylinders. Nothing they do, everything is working basically.
Yeah, Primavera was down low. The bouncer just over his head.
And boy, do we have ourselves a windy afternoon, windy evening here in Fort Worth. Probably welcomed with it being 85 degrees here in Fort Worth. JT says just like scooping ice cream. And look at that with the rear check at the last minute was Colin Singer, because JT Macedo was calling his own number on that play.
He certainly had leverage to unload it, and just the slightest disruption in the shot will send it off.
Kevin Hayes was on the clear for the Sooners, able to get it dislodged with 1:30 on the clock. Oh, what a fake by Billy Niles, not able to cash in. Going to get a reset on the shot clock with 1:18. 2-second difference between the shot clock and game clock. And that's a save by Vince Primavera, who has, boy, that kid is going to need an ice bath at the end of this contest.
Yeah, he just set up on the pipe, and he gave him a lane to shoot in. Figured he could get his stick over there to cover it, and that's exactly how it worked out.
Another unforced error by the Sooners. Hayden Lundy with possession for TCU.
Run it.
Under 30 seconds left here in the third. Justin Cozy standing in the alley, has the ball dislodged from his head, trying to get back inside. Pass is going to roll out of bounds. And possession goes to the Sooners, bringing it in from the inline is Connor Jamel with 10 seconds left in the third. Looks like the Sooners are just fine with letting the the game clock expire to end the third, and that's the end of the third quarter with TCU with a commanding lead. Not looking back here, man. They are up by 9 going into the fourth.
Yeah, they're just rocking at this point. They have sustained possessions. They're not rushing. They feel like they have this thing in command. They don't feel like OU has another little bit more in the tank to adjust to, and they just may be out of steam at this point. And at that point, you're just trying not to embarrass anybody.
Absolutely. Now, in a game like this where you're TCU, this is a playoff game. This is what you're in it for, because you want to build as much momentum as you possibly can into your next playoff game. For them, what are some of the things that they can work in? Because I've seen teams where they get up by a good lead and obviously get sloppy. You don't want that, because you don't want those things to follow you into your next playoff match. What can they do to stay crisp in a game like this?
I mean, you want to mix in guys that aren't getting playing time. See if you can derive any kind of exposure that you haven't seen at practice. See if there's something that you can get. But you're not just gonna wholesale dump the bench. But you want to keep your guys crisp. Try not to get anybody hurt, and just go at it. And that seems to me what they're doing. They're bringing in some guys that aren't typically getting playing time, and they're executing for them, and they're seeing some things that they like, and they're not pulling their foot off the accelerator.
No, not one bit. Not one bit. As James Vills comes on for TCU, looks like that's going to be the end of work for number 23, Carter Schubert.
And Bill's a senior, obviously somebody that has been around, and you want to get him some game experience, because you go into the playoffs and it's hot hand. That's who you're going to play, and you don't know who's going to have the hot hand.
As both teams are coming back onto the field, OU has just got to be exhausted. So far, these guys have taken a beating. And even though the pace has slowed down a lot, they are just having to run back and forth, especially with those turnovers, and TCU getting out on the break early.
Now they have switched up the goalie, and they're trying to get – it looks like they're trying to get one more body out there on the attack zone. And Primavera is – the kid's athletic. I don't know what he's going to do without a goalie stick in his hand, but he's athletic.
Well, we'll get an opportunity to see. JT Macedo again at the X, leaves without the ball. OU with a victory at the X, and that's number 2, London Laszlo, trying to look for the clear. And that's going to be a turnover that's going to go TCU's way. And I'm telling you, even up by 9, they're still not allowing anything easy.
Yeah, and Laszlo picked up the ground ball and was looking to get cleared. Next thing you know, he looked like a cherry on a sundae.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? And that happened fast.
It was quick.
Billy Niles in. It's the ball to O'Connell. O'Connell back behind the X to Justin Causey. Trying to get back top side. And good slide protection and double team from the Sooners.
Yeah, they close quarters and they close quarters on the ride and have shut this thing out. They're impeding shots, and TCU's not really able to get anything clear to just unload.
Now at the goalie for the Sooners is number 26, Coles Manning.
He's been playing midfield most of the game, and I think it's just to give him a little bit of a rest and see what Primavera's got with a short stick in his hand.
Yeah, definitely need all hands on deck. I don't think anyone is noticing that possession is actually supposed to be with Oklahoma. We have a ref right in front of us saying that possession is going this way. However, TCU has the possession.
White, hit it out.
Finally, whistle has been blown and possession changed.
And, of course, everybody's got an opinion at that point.
Absolutely, right? You see that? And that's an unforced error right there for the Sooners. Jared Bethea got a man-to-man look and a pass out by Colin Minute. Minute looked like he had Jared Bethea there for a quick second on the break, but Sooners able to get the turnover.
And Manning came out of the crease and was going to cross-check him, and knowing that he wouldn't have to serve it.
That's right. Big difference, huh?
Yeah.
Big difference.
You can act with impunity.
Someone else will serve this penalty, not me. Clay Cutler's another individual who's going to have an ice bath after this game. Boy, he has been everything for the Sooners offense. Number 14. I think that kid has stopped running since he's taken the field. Traeger Kennard defending, got glove on glove defense. Find himself in the inside, and there he is, number 14, Clay Cutler, with a shot attempt and goal.
And the key to that, Heckman, was the screen denied, where he didn't take that screen. He rode through it, and that impeded his defender. That opened him up. So once he got leverage, he had a lane to go into, and just popped it in the back of the net.
Yep, doesn't get any easier than that. And that was a sweet score for number 14, Clay Cutler.
And I think you got a kind of a quasi cold goalie coming in, and you got to act quick.
Now, it was just on a little innocent play like that from OU earlier that got the party started, and my God, what a shot by Hayden Lundy with the cannon, and that's ordering some queso right there. There it is. Got a little bit of vegan queso going.
He was raising the poncho flag down there.
Right on. Go a little old school. Raise the flag. There you go. I like that. I'm writing that one down too. Raise the flag. Easy scores all around, and back up by 9 as JT Macedo gets back to his winning ways down at the X. And that's Trey Mala coming back across to the near side, stopping in the middle of the field. .11:32 left in the fourth, and even though the Sooners stole a little bit of the momentum in the second, TCU has regathered themselves at the half and put their foot firmly on the gas pedal and have not let up. That one looked like it bounced inside the pipe and came out.
That was a goal save.
Is that what that was? Goal save?
It was off the pipe.
Because it looked at me like it went right in the inside, but came right back out. You're right. And look at that with the reach around. How sweet is that? How sweet is that? Colin Minute.
Just down low, unloaded it, backhand, never got 4 inches off the ground.
No, it didn't. And I tell you what, this is just runaway right now for TCU, up by 10 at 10:47 here in the fourth.
You hate to say no lead is safe, but we may be in that territory where the lead is safe.
No, go ahead and say it, JD. Nah? Okay, so JT Macedo back down at the exit, getting the party started. I tell you what, nope, we get a procedure penalty. Finally, something to go the Sooners' way at the face-off.
They're going to stand out on the perimeter, and TCU's going at him with fresh legs. That seems to be the only trick they got in the bag at this point, I think.
Cutler back in the middle of the field. Complimented him earlier, man. This guy has just been all heart and hustle out here in Fort Worth as they bring the screen his way. There's your guy, Primavera, on for the Sooners. Zach Serpolo defending with the long pole behind the X. Not allowing the guys to get back topside. Good cutoff defense by TCU.
Sooners right back at it again, got to reset.
Vince Breckenridge running in the alley. He has a score earlier, and that's a great push out by number 15, Jack Huey. Shot clock is running down, and that tried to get an easy score. That's a shot clock violation against the Sooners, and that's going to be a turnover.
And Breckenridge, he's backing into his lane and just never got leverage where he could get around into the goal face and just went wide.
Yeah, did the best he could, but that defense, man, cut him off. Wait a minute, they're going to say possession is going to stay with OU. I thought that was a shot clock violation.
Maybe he got it off before the shot clock, but it still has to be on goal.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, possession with the Sooners.
I don't know. Breckenridge thought different because he looked square at us.
Here's Clay Cutler. Getting back topside with the shot that goes behind the cage. So Sooner hustles to the end line. Possession stays with OU. Sorry about that.
Vols was just set up on the pipe and forced it wide.
That's a good save by number 17. Pass across midfield, a bit of a scrum on the far side. No one able to get control of it yet. And finally, OU has it. Comes off of the head of Vince Primavera as he's trying to maneuver on the far side. And TCU back in business on offense with a 10-point lead. Captain Trey Mahler gets the ball back out to Hayden Lundy. Lundy to Mahler. Mahler with the shot attempt, and I don't know if it was just the heat that was on that goal, but he pushed the goalie underneath the cage with the score. So I don't know. I'm seeing new stuff all the time, JD, and that's a new one for me.
It'd be good.
Boy, that's some strength on that one, boy. That was some heat as Oklahoma takes a timeout. And as they do, we'll do as well. We'll take a timeout as well and be right back here as play resumes here on Game On Sports. Back in action here in Fort Worth. Looks like we have a new usual suspect. And look at that, Primavera winning at the X for the Sooners. Not the usual Fogo there for TCU as.
Oh no, a little change of pace, but he was going to go right down the gut and try and pop some mots into the net.
Nope, and it did not happen. It's 5:52 in the fourth. TCU 16, OU 5. And want to thank all of you for joining us here on Game On Sports. I'm Heckma Harrison with Jim Dixon. And Jim, this has been one of those matchups, man, where it came in, you knew it was playoff lacrosse. You were expecting a lot more from OU as far as the effort that they came out with. But, man, TCU just didn't give them
No, they gave
them anything.
No, they gave no quarter in the first quarter. They basically choked them off, and OU had to kind of reset and work some game magic as far as how they built momentum in the second, and that was short-lived.
It really was, and again, it's just. I just go back to the adjustments made in the third quarter because you saw it defensively. Boy, they definitely stepped up on defense and denied and took away the middle of the field, especially on those easy goals that we saw initially from the Sooners. They didn't allow those easy goals to happen, as that is a great hustle by Sam Ferguson to the end line as TCU takes over.
Yeah, and Laszlo had him beat and just did not get it in and hit it off Val's helmet.
Good pass. Joshua Harrison able to maintain that long pass with the long pole. Mala on the move, getting it out to Hayden Lundy, number 12. Lundy with the goal earlier, a little bit of a roller, call it a meatball, basically, the way that it rolled under the goalie.
Hey, you can't be proud.
Ho, 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 there is the queso that we wanted to get ordered. Boy, some top cheddar here in Fort Worth, Texas from number 22, Mike Bacino.
At his eyes.
I'm telling you, my God. And it looked like he had his eyes locked on it the whole time. Nothing he could do about it.
No.
17-5 here in the fourth as we got a bit of a running clock. I don't blame him.
Cutler's employing the long stick midi now.
Yeah, he is. I saw that. Look at that. It's a bit of a change-up, huh?
Yep. They're deep. The bench is not deep, but it is versatile.
It is versatile. We've seen that. We've seen the goalie go to attack. It's short to a long pole. What else is next? I won't ask.
No.
O'Connell running through the screen from Lundy. And that's another shot attempt and goal. And I believe that's number 3, Matthew Lockman. 2:28 in the fourth quarter. TCU 18, OU 5.
And Manning just never really caught up to it, and just went under his arm and right to the back of the net.
Yeah, Jim, this has been complete domination in the second half. If there's anything that these OU could have possibly built on was that second quarter momentum that they had. But right now, TCU is not looking back. And the game of attrition the war of attrition that we've been looking for as far as the numbers for TCU, he could see it now in the fourth quarter starting to take over. As if you look over on the OU bench, these guys are dejected.
Yeah, you got one of your better players with his socks off and feet up, and he's obviously dealing with an ankle injury or ankle issue, and now you're down to a one-man bench, and it's just thin.
Will Gambrell taking his time across, and there's another goal for TCU, and that's 19-5. As I say his name, an easy shot attempt and goal for TCU.
Yeah, he just shuffled into an open lane and just popped it in.
Yeah, defense did not come with the Sooners here with the minute left in this contest. 19-5.
Maybe all your queso references have these guys kind of licking their chops for some Mexican food before they head home.
Raise the flag, JD.
There you go.
Macedo with the over-the-shoulder pass that goes out of bounds. Boy, that would have been sweet.
It's still in play, Hegma.
It's still in play. I couldn't see past my camera guy over here. In direct view of this Game On T-shirt. Been wonderful being here at TCU on the wonderful campus of Texas Christian University, having an opportunity to call these lacrosse games. I thought the last game that I called was the last game that I would have been here for the seniors. And here I am again, and met a lot of parents and everyone from the staff over here, man. Just a great group of players. And so want to see them do really well in this playoff series in the LSA, but TCU runs away with it as that is the end of the game. And I'll leave the closing arguments up to you, JD.
I got no argument. I mean, TCU is setting the pace, ready to roll into what's coming next in the playoffs, and they have the table set, and they're closing this thing out at 10-6, and obviously on a momentum run with wins in the last 4 games, and playing some quality teams, and they're ready to roll. And OU came out and just kind of put a little bit of scare in them, getting some momentum together in the second quarter. Other than that was about the extent of it.
I'll tell you what, man, I hate for the party to end, but it has to end somehow, and TCU with the runaway victory here in Fort Worth, 19-5 over the Sooners from Oklahoma. So for Jim, Tim, all the guys here from Game On Sports, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Heckma Harrison. God bless you all, and have a good evening.
It was like that, JD. It was like that. It was like that, baby. We gotta do it again. They can't keep you away from me.
I've been doing singles.
No.
Yeah.
It's so much better when you got somebody with you. You know? I do it all the time with HP.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, reunited and it feels so good. Is that Peaches and Herb?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Peaches and Herb. Reunited and it feels so good. Sorry, we'll get changed to call some. Are you going to do the dripping strings thing?
Not that I know of.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
I got,
Oh, man. 19-5. Yeah, you got to do what?
I used to get my daughter out of Duke.
Okay.
And that's done. States in 2 weeks.
Okay.
After that,
I call games with a lot of guys on in different sports. Oh yeah.
baseball. I'm gonna start with
Somebody to sit next to you.
talk to him.